In Victorian England, if your child had a toothache, a cough, or trouble sleeping, a doctor might reach for a drug that today would get a parent arrested and a physician stripped of their license: cocaine. Not as a street drug, as a legitimate over-the-counter medicine sold in pharmacies recommended by respected doctors and given directly to children. Here's how that became completely normal. In late 19th century Britain, healthcare was a marketplace built on personal trust rather than institutional regulation. When a child fell ill, parents did not look for government seals or clinical trial data. Such concepts did not exist. Instead, safety was guaranteed by the professional standing of the local pharmacist or the family physician. These practitioners operated within the bounds of contemporary science, not malice. They were respectable community pillars, doing their best with the limited tools of their era. During this period, the ultimate test of any medicine was immediate, visible results. If a remedy quieted a cough or stilled a restless infant, it was deemed a success. This focus on symptom relief, rather than long-term physiological impact, created a quiet vulnerability. In an era before mandatory ingredient labeling or pre-market safety testing, the familiar face of a neighborhood chemist served as the consumer's only shield. This reliance on personal reputation over systematic proof meant that incredibly potent substances could reach the family home under the banner of respectable medicine. Trust in the practitioner took the place of modern safety verification, showing that professional authority and proven safety are two entirely different things. In 1855, German pharmacist Friedrich Gaedke isolated an active alkaloid from the coca leaf, a substance he initially named coca alkaloid. 5 years later, in 1860, chemist Albert Niemann refined the purification process in Göttingen, producing the pure hydrochloride salt we know today. These scientific reports quickly entered the English-speaking medical world, where the compound's rapid numbing properties and stimulating qualities were praised as a major therapeutic victory. By the 1880s, this newly purified substance had gained massive prestige among European and American elite physicians. To doctors working in an era before modern synthetics, a drug that could completely block localized pain looked like absolute proof of scientific progress. In 1884, Sigmund Freud published his scholarly endorsement of the drug in his treatise, Über Coca, describing it as a valuable remedy for exhaustion and depression. This high-level medical backing gave the drug instant legitimacy. At the time, if a substance worked reliably in adult clinical trials, doctors assumed it was suitable for patients of all ages. No pediatric drug testing existed before the 20th century. Without formal trials or safety mandates, the global medical community adopted the substance as a brilliant innovation, entirely unaware of its addictive potential. This paved the way for its introduction into daily household use, backed by the full authority of the medical establishment. The physical reality of a teething infant presented Victorian households with a relentless challenge. For parents facing nights of sleeplessness and a child in clear distress, the newly discovered local anesthetic properties of cocaine offered an apparently perfect solution. Because the drug rapidly numbed mucosal tissue on contact, applying it directly to swollen, painful gums brought immediate, quiet relief to a crying baby. To well-meaning caretakers and physicians, this instant cessation of pain seemed like a triumph of modern science, rather than a hazard. By 1885, commercial manufacturers recognized the massive market potential of this remedy. In the United States, the Lloyd Manufacturing Company of Albany, New York, began producing cocaine toothache drops, selling them in small glass bottles for 15 cents. Advertisements featured wholesome illustrations of children playing happily, directly reassuring mothers that the product was safe, gentle, and effective. Mainstream newspapers published these advertisements alongside everyday household items, which normalized the drug as a standard domestic utility. These preparations were sold openly on the shelves of respectable neighborhood pharmacies. For working-class families, purchasing an over-the-counter remedy was not a matter of reckless neglect, but of economic necessity. Calling a physician for a home visit carried a high cost that few laboring households could afford. Buying a bottle of drops from a local chemist provided an affordable, immediate way to keep a child comfortable and allow parents to continue working. Under this economic framework, commercial availability and professional pharmacy sales transformed a highly potent stimulant into a routine household necessity. The medical application of these potent chemicals quickly expanded past dental pain. Victorian parents, desperate to calm children suffering from persistent coughs, painful sore throats, and the vague diagnosis of infant nervousness, found a variety of commercial preparations readily available at the local chemist. Cocaine was only one part of a vast, unregulated domestic medicine chest. Beside it on the shelves sat equally powerful remedies containing raw opium and morphine, designed to keep household life orderly and quiet. Among the most popular was Mrs. Winslow's soothing syrup, first produced in 1849 and exported across the English-speaking world. While its advertising depicted peaceful mothers and sleeping infants, the liquid relied on a mixture of morphine sulfate and high-proof alcohol to induce that calm. Similarly, British households turned to Godfrey's cordial, a sweet laudanum-based syrup, and Dalby's carminative, which also used opium to treat colic and digestive distress. Because Victorian science had not yet mapped the physical mechanisms of addiction or the precise toxicity of these compounds, both doctors and parents viewed these syrups as benevolent scientific achievements. In crowded industrial cities where working parents faced long factory shifts and had no access to childcare, a restless, crying infant threatened the survival of the entire family. A spoonful of a narcotic syrup promised a quiet night of sleep and a child who could remain comfortable while their parents earned a living. This immediate, quiet relief crossed all social lines, turning highly addictive substances into standard household necessities. In 1905, private unease over unregulated medicines became a public challenge. Investigative journalist Samuel Hopkins Adams launched an 11-part expose in Collier's Weekly titled "The Great American Fraud." Adams unmasked the secret formulas of popular remedies, showing how celebrated children's tonics relied on hidden doses of cocaine and opium. At the same time, chemist Harvey Washington Wiley, head of the Department of Agriculture, provided the scientific proof to back these journalistic claims. Through his famous Poison Squad experiments, Wiley tested chemical additives on human volunteers, making toxicity a public scientific issue. This combination of laboratory evidence and investigative reporting built a momentum that politicians could no longer ignore. On June 23, 1906, the United States passed the Pure Food and Drug Act, requiring manufacturers to disclose cocaine, opium, and other dangerous ingredients on every label. In Britain, a preliminary baseline for tracking dangerous substances had existed since the Pharmacy Act of 1868, which restricted poison sales to registered chemists but left patent medicine recipes untouched. True systemic control required a global shift from transparency to restriction. The United States enacted the Harrison Narcotics Tax Act of 1914, regulating the distribution of opium and coca derivatives through taxation and registration. 6 years later, Britain followed with the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1920, effectively ending the era of over-the-counter pediatric stimulants. The final piece of this modern regulatory system arrived with the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act of 1938, which mandated pre-market safety testing. These legislative shifts replaced the old trust-based marketplace with a rigid system of clinical proof, establishing the regulated pediatric standards of today. Today, we view Victorian remedies with disbelief. Yet history warns us that medical authority is never a permanent guarantee of safety. It begs the question, which of our own accepted treatments will future generations judge just as harshly? Subscribe for more untold stories from history.